me soma cada madrugada. Ilha dos Pais, guarda boa Bahia, tá proteger quem com cremas tio. Ilha dos Pais, guarda boa Bahia, tá proteger quem com crema. E só pra dizer, minha coração Bokenya cresceu, Bokenya cresceu. É só pra dizer, minha coração tá ficando mais bom. Bokenya cresceu, Bokenya cresceu. É só pra dizer.
Let's give a hand to Milton and friends once again. They are blessing us with some love. Favorite music, nos música. Your nome Ivan Brito. Não teve uns duas palavras em crioulo. I'm gonna say a couple of words in Creole. Just I feel I have to. I'm standing next to Ernestina. Ma nitali hoje ma Cape Verdean Recognition Committee. Ma group de Milton and friends. Na tem Easy's food truck li também de comida. Richie's Cool Licks, vende ice cream. Natalie 4:30 até 7:30. Música, bude ba na Ernestina, tem tour. Bude ba da volta. Tem que gente letras dop na da tour de Ernestina. So bem para saber mais nós, lembra mo amanhã na temporada 11 horas, tá começando a Baltimore Park. So, obrigado por estar ali. My name is Ivan Brito. I'm the current president of the Cape Verdean Recognition Committee, and we are proud to be here and having this event for our community next to Ernestina. Just some housekeeping, we have a Milton and Friends with the music. We have Izzy's food truck on the corner down there to my left, and we also have Cool Licks selling some ice cream. And it's an honor to be here to enjoy this event next to our beloved Ernestina-Morrissey. All right, you guys ready to enjoy this evening or what? Let's go, it's beautiful. We had to move the date from Tuesday to Friday, but as you see, the sun is beautiful, shining on us today. So without further ado, actually first I just want to make sure that I acknowledge the fact that Ernestina is here, and it's right near where most of our family and friends grew up in the Bay Village area. And that's why I certainly grew up when I first came here as a little boy. And we wanted to be here more and more in the future, to be part of our community, part of our celebration. So I hope that we can continue this collaboration and be able to, to be part of this, to see part of our history and learn more about it for our kids and everyone else in our community. So personally, I'm looking forward to us being able to work together more to have Ernestina-Morrissey here in this community on a yearly basis. I'm going to bring up the mayor of our city to say a few words, and some other folks to say a few words, and then the music will continue. So without further ado, please welcome Mayor Mitchell. Thank you.
I'm so glad that Ivan is looking more and more relaxed as the week has gone on. Look at him, he's got the shorts on, he's got the summer shirt looking good. He's had a busy week. I've said it before, but he started off the week with the opening of his new business, and then of course on the side he's running the Cape Verdean Association. So he's a busy man, even if he doesn't look like it right now. So I gotta tell you, take a look around. Give yourself a 360. This is, I love this scene. I love the scene, like all the stuff going on, all the people milling about. This Ernestina, of course, over my shoulder in full view of this ceremony. Cape Verdean Recognition Week this week. Lots of people coming and going. Here we are in the middle of America's premier fishing port. A lot going on. I love it. This is the kind of stuff I love as mayor. I look around, people are just digging our city. So, and this is like the best week to do it all year long. With starting off with the flag raising and going through, all the way through the parade into more stuff next week. I mean, as I mentioned earlier today, this is, it's kind of become Cape Verdean recognition half month. It's not just a week. It's gotten so big with new ceremonies, new events that, and there's a lot to celebrate. So I got to tell you, I'm just so pleased with it. It's really fun to be here on a Friday afternoon with everybody, listening to some great music. So I just wanted to offer thanks to a lot of folks. I want to thank Mr. Consul General Gomes because he's going to buy a house here at some point. I know it. He doesn't know it yet, but he's been spending a lot of time here, so he knows what his priorities are, and so I'm sure he's going to be spending more time still. That would be the wisest thing to do. Buy a house right here in New Bedford. We'll find you a broker. But I wanted to thank everybody. Of course, Ivan, Bruce Rose, the entire committee, the Cape Verdean Association Committee this week, and everybody who helped put this together. I want to thank Mass Maritime, Admiral McDonald and his team do a great job ensuring that that connection is a real one. So I just want to thank you guys for all the work that you do. I want to thank, of course, our City Council for all of their support. Council Burgo, Council Carney are both here. They've been. We're gonna need a rest. All of us, all the elected officials this week. Wait till tomorrow. Hydrate for tomorrow. That's my only advice. And everybody who worked to make the return of the restoration and return of the Ernestina a reality. I was gonna say, where's Julius Brito? There's you. Always hide him in the background with the sunglasses on it, looking around. Julius, this is part of your well-earned victory lap. I know we welcomed the vessel back in December, but it's summertime now, so we got to celebrate it again. But there's a man who played such a huge part of it. So anyway, I just this was a wise idea to make this part of Cape Verdean Recognition Week. So I want to thank everybody who put this together. I just hope you enjoy yourself. It's one long party this week and a little beyond, and I think it's appropriate. There's been so much energy this week, and we look forward to seeing that carry through for the rest of the summer. So thanks everybody. I'm sure I'll see you out on the parade route tomorrow. Thanks everyone.
Next, I'd like to call the Consul General Octavio Ben Gomes to say a few words.
I need to buy a house here, yes. Yeah, the reason. Ao pessoal, ninguém está gostando de falar crioulo, uma língua de poder falar crioulo, para mal. E de que tinha gente que compreende crioulo. Mas a introdução é sempre na crioulo. Já vos dei a caminha de São Vicente. Já me li como cônsul. Hoje é 29. Amanhã, dia 30, está a fazer um ano com chegar ali nos Estados Unidos, para ser cônsul durante um período de 3 ou 4 anos. Antes de esperar quando conseguir dar conta de recorde, pelo menos Estado, a nível de mandato que o governo dá para me executar e a nível dos outros expectativas. But let me start in English so the audience can understand me. Honorable Mayor John Mitchell, dear representative of the Massachusetts Maritime Academy, dear Julius Brito, President of the Schooner Ernestina Commission, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, compatriots, I'm delighted to be here to commemorate the return of the schooner Ernestina-Morrissey to the port of New Bedford. I am pleased to be back at State Pier, having been here last year on December 17 to accompany the Prime Minister of the Republic of Cape Verde, Mr. Ulisses Correia Silva, to celebrate this Ernestina-Morrissey homecoming. I've heard the name of New Bedford since my childhood. On the small islands, my islands of San Vicente in Cape Verde, when older Cape Verdeans would talk about their desire to travel to the United States. I've also heard it mentioned in books written by writers from my own country. The most concrete example is the literary novel Chiquinho by writer Baltasar Lopes da Silva, written in 1947, which was recently translated into English with the collaboration of our friend Carlos Almeida, a citizen resident in New Bedford, whom you all know well, since he is the director of the Luso Center of Bristol College and an active member of the Cape Verdean Association of New Bedford. At the end of the novel Chiquinho, this book I refer, the main character of this literary novel immigrates on a steamship called Ernestina to the United States to join his father in search of the American dream. The dream that marked a generation of Cape Verdean immigrants. This reference in the book to Ernestina is a tribute to the boat that gave so much joy to the people of Cape Verde. One might ask, but why so much love and emotional attachment to a simple boat? But I don't think I have to answer that question. The involvement of Cape Verdean and American citizens in the fundraising campaign that led to her restoration, and the way American entities have embraced the initiative and treated this boat give the answer. So New Bedford is part of our history, just like Cape Cod, Scituate City, and other neighboring towns. I am proud that Cape Verde in collaboration with the American authorities, played an important role in the recovery of this wonderful ship, which is now moored here right now. It proves that when there is perseverance and the will to execute, great things can be achieved. I would like to thank everyone who has given their unconditional support to the realization of this project. Some of these people and entities were mentioned in the Prime Minister's speech last year. To conclude, I would like to thank the entire members of the Schooner Ernestina Commission, the members of the SEMA directors, the Massachusetts Maritime Academy, as well as all the volunteers and entities who contributed to the fundraising campaigns to help restore Ernestina. I thank you.
Thank you, Consul General. Next, I'd like to ask Representative of the Mass Maritime Academy to say a few words.
How's it going?
Good.
Mike Ortiz.
I present you Mike Ortiz. Thank you.
How's everyone doing today? How's everyone doing today? Oh, okay, much better, much better. Let me introduce myself. My name is Michael Ortiz, and I am the Chief Diversity Officer at Massachusetts Maritime Academy. I think it's really important that we take today to really celebrate what the Ernestina is here in New Bedford, but also the partnership that we can create and foster with the Cape Verdean Association and the Recognition Week. This is such a monumental experience that the Academy is truly embarked on inclusive excellence, and we want to make sure that we continue those efforts. During the event in December, we heard very loud and clear, and I believe it was from you, Mr. Brito, about that we need to step out of our comfort zone and make sure that we continue and embrace everything that we do at this Academy and for everything in the community in New Bedford, and particularly to the Cape Verdean community as well. So we hear you loud and clear, and we continue to hope and do those fosters and relationships. That's a little hard to fight there. One of the things that I do want to say is I want to thank Bruce Rose, the Cape Verdean Association, obviously the recognition committee as well. Patrick Nobrega is our new director. Actually, I can make this formal announcement. I'm going to do that right now. For everyone to know is that because we're embarking on inclusive excellence, we now have looking to embark and really show that our commitment to inclusion is that we were able to name our new center the Captain Paul Cuffey Center for Inclusion at Massachusetts Maritime Academy. So again, we heard you very loud and clear, but at the same time, thank you for everyone's support. And again, if you're interested in Massachusetts Maritime Academy or things that we want to do and continue our partnerships, please come talk to us. We want to embrace this as much as possible. Thank you.
And last, I'd like to bring to the stage Schooner Ernestina-Morrissey, Julius Brito, president of Schooner Ernestina-Morrissey Academy.
Thank you, President Brito. I was just told that you started a new business. Let me tell you, I worked on this for about 40 years and I still had a business, so you can do it. One Brito to another. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. I want to acknowledge Mayor Mitchell. Mayor Mitchell and I go back before he was mayor, when he was Assistant United States Attorney, and I was a supervising federal probation officer in Boston. In fact, he came to my office about 2 days before I was retiring in 2006, and we had a little discussion about all other things, and one of them was, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to work and get the Ernestina back in shape. 2006 to today. Greetings to the Consul General and to the Mr. Ortiz from Mass Maritime and to everyone here. I just want to let you know who SEMA is. SEMA is Schooner Ernestina-Morrissey Association, and it's some remarkable people. We started it in 2009, and we were able to accomplish this. We were able to accomplish this. Some of the people in the group, in the board of directors, Bob Hildreth, Marianne McQuillan, Louise Croto, Derek Stevens, Mandy Lopes, Polly Sajak, Willie Bank, Melissa Duvall, Mike Gomes. Incredible people. You know, I see my cousin over here, and we have a thing that we do as Creoles, Cape Verdeans, and we joke with each other. When you bring up somebody who you revere or who is good, you say, "Que mas Creole?" So, "Que mas Creole?" Why should Cape Verdeans stay involved with the Ernestina? I'm going to tell you a quick story. And this story is as if we're talking in our kitchen. You know, Creoles love to talk in the kitchen, so I'm talking to you like we're in the kitchen. And the story is about another Gloucester vessel called the Notice. The Notice was a 71-foot vessel, and it launched from Cape Verde on June 27th, 1906. My great-grandfather was on board, my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my aunt, my great-aunt, and my grandmother's husband, Manuel Cabral, the Manuel Cabral. They started out again from Brava on June 27th. And around July 20th, they hit a storm and it got dismasted. And in the storm, my great-grandfather, who was a whaler, grabbed my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my great-aunt, and Manuel, and wrapped them around the mast. The masthead broke. And he said, if one goes, we all go. They worked, all of the men on the board, there were 53 men on board and 11 women. And then they had animals and so forth. They worked very hard to try to get the vessel in, but the rudder broke about 9 days later. They didn't know what was happening, and the young captain, who was 25 years old, jumped overboard and killed himself. He left everybody to fend for themselves. He was so overwhelmed. My great-grandfather and several other people steered the vessel long enough for an Italian liner to pick them up and bring them into New York. Now, this was a story that my mother used to tell us all the time, but it's actually in the New York Times. August 6th, 1902, 2 reports of this vessel and what it went through. 40 days they were on the sea. And that's with the Gloucester vessel, the Notice. Now, many Cape Verdeans bought Gloucester vessels, hundreds and hundreds of Gloucester vessels, because they were so well built. And that's one of the reasons why I became involved in the Ernestina. Second story I want to tell you was on July 27th, 1975, 48 years ago, I went to Cape Verde for the first independence. There was only a few of us. We landed in Sal, couldn't get a flight because there was too many people from San Vicente. And so they took the plane to San Vicente and we stayed, David and I, in the airport. We didn't know what we were doing. Aristides Pereira comes in from Angola. He's with Luis Cabral. He's with Abilio Duarte. He's with several other people. And they say, you guys can come with us. We're going into Praia. Whoa, that's cool. We're on the boat, on the plane with a lot of young men that they brought from the camp in Angola. So we land in Praia, and for security reasons, Aristides' party said, you guys go early and we'll follow you. So we get off the plane and these news people from around the world, all taking pictures, snapping, we're like paparazzi. David and I are looking at us like, whoa, 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 this is something else. We get down to the tarmac and we had to explain, listen, we're only from the United States, we're a couple Cape Verdean guys. You want to see those guys in there. They're the important ones. They left. After that, you know, once in a while, the newsmen, when they had a lull, they would come to David and I for perspective. And finally, I told them, listen, I'm here to enjoy independence. I'm not an official from the United States, so I don't have any standing. So the guy says, okay, I'm going to write you in as the bearded American. My mother tells me when I get home a month later, I kept following you as the bearded American. I knew that was you. But it was an experience that I'll never forget. I was 25 years old. I was living with the freedom fighters, Linnell Miranda, Manuel Rodriguez, Abilio Duarte. I wasn't living with him, but I had met him, Sylvina de Luz, the day he was sworn in as the general in the armies. I mean, it was quite an experience. Throughout that time, I saw the Portuguese army leave from Praia. I saw the celebration become. Tony Ramis from Providence was with me. He was going to do some filming. And the night of July 4th it was pandemonium in Praia. And I was standing there with Linnell and Manuel, And Aristides Pereira announced at midnight, Povo de Cabo Verde, liberdade. You're free. These were freedom fighters, guys that were in the jungle, and we were crying because we were so happy. It was unbelievable. And Linnell looked at me, he says, you have two countries now. You have the United States and you have Cape Verde. That was so impactful in my life. We were sitting around and there was no lights because around 9 o'clock, the government didn't have enough power to turn on the lights. So they shut them off for about 6 hours every night. So we're sitting around in candles and talking and drinking, getting heated about independence. And one of the freedom fighters, I mean, I was in awe of these individuals, but one of the freedom fighters said to me, okay, what are you going to do when you get back to the United States? You know, I said, whoa, that's above my pay grade. I'm just a probation officer. You know, I says, I don't know, but I'll try to find something that is worthy. 1976, Mayor Beam invites the Ernestina to New York to lead the tall ships. I started to get involved. Ernestina broke its masts, went back, and I have never looked back ever since. The Ernestina was the issue for me to get the Cape Verdean voice around the world. That was the issue. And I'm glad that I did that. Everybody has a story. Every Cape Verdean out here, I'm sure, has a story of their grandparents, their parents that came from Cape Verde. They had a harrowing experience and so forth. And the reason why we need to stay involved with the Ernestina is for that very reason. Just to honor the struggle of Cape Verdeans coming to this country because of drought, famine, Chiquina, the book. It was bad. It was bad for a long time. We need to support the Ernestina. We need to come out during times when they need volunteers. We need to keep this vessel in the hearts and minds of people in the world that it's a Cape Verdean vessel. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Mr. Berto. Beautifully said. I also like to call a dear friend of our community, say a few words. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Cabral. Rep Cabral. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I guess we all telling stories about the Ernestina, right? Right, the backdrop here. She looks beautiful, doesn't she? Well, that's after 13 million plus renovation, right? Or restoration, I should say. So with that, over the years, I've been involved with the Ernestina for over 30 years. In the legislature, we've worked very hard to maintain this ship sailing throughout the years until, and I don't want to get political, but until Mitt Romney became the governor. That year, the Ernestina needed to be hauled out. We're going to do it in Fairhaven, some minor repairs, and we couldn't get the administration to support the funding to do that. And that's the beginning that really stopped the Ernestina from sailing altogether. And we kept working, and of course, SEMA, by the way, SEMA played an awesome role in making sure of keeping people together and keep the support going. And we finally, we earmarked some money, myself and Senator Montigny, in the bond bill, originally in the amount of $2.5 million. That was not enough. We still could not, the governor, he would not appropriate the money. bond authorization is only an authorization by the legislature, but the governor still has to then put in this so-called the capital plan of the state, and we couldn't get that money released at all. Until we finally got all the pieces together to really restore the Ernestina overall. We worked during the Duvall administration. Just think about this, 8 years. We got some movement, some minor movement during the Duvall administration. But believe it or not, it was during actually the Charlie Baker administration that really got full traction. And I'm not here to praise Republicans, but I think he understood. I think finally that administration understood the value of this vessel. It's not just about a wooden boat. It was about a gift that had been given to the people of the United States, in particular Massachusetts, from the people of Cape Verde. So it meant more than just a ship. And I think they understood that. So through that administration, we were able, SEMA raised a bunch of money as well. We were able to get some private partners. That was always what Romney used to tell us. You got to get private money to do this. We're not going to do too much state money on this. But we finally got some partners. I think John Bullen also helped us identify really a multi-millionaire person, right? Down in Philadelphia. And Bob Hildreth, by the way, also along the years has contributed, I would say, north of $2 million, right? At least that from Bob Hildreth, which is a Massachusetts resident. He used to be on the board of the Ernestina when it actually was a board that governed the Ernestina itself, not just an advisory board. And then we were able to put all the pieces together between the state, the amount that SEMA raised, both private partners, both Bob Hildreth and what's the name of the fellow from Langfest, that's right, Mr. Langfest, that actually owned the Philadelphia Inquirer. He already has passed away, so he didn't really get to see the Ernestina restored because he passed away before that. But his widow committed and gave the money. So here we are, all those years later, and we finally have the Ernestina back, and she looks beautiful. And we needed to find a different way to maintain this vessel. The old way didn't quite work well. And I think Mass Maritime became the obvious partner, if you will, or the obvious place to actually manage day-to-day. And at the same time, I think it was a great opportunity for young people to learn how to sail, use a tall ship besides just the regular ship that they have at Mass Maritime. And also it's an opportunity for the Ernestina story to be told almost every day with young people that attend Mass Maritime. Not only they hear the stories, the history, and what it means to all of us, but they also learn how to sail a tall ship, a ship that was the last ship to bring immigrants to the United States. So I know many of you have your own stories, and but you know, we over the years we won some fights, we lost some, but in the end we won the battle, right? The big battle. We won the war, right? So you know, it's a very special vessel for all of us. Obviously, you see another name there that was part of the compromise to get Mr. Langfest's money, right? He wanted the other history of the vessel to be included. So that's why today you see Ernestina-Morrissey. I thought it was a good compromise. We still call it just the Ernestina, right? and that's how it's known, and it's, there was a compromise to get the 4 million plus for Mr. Lindfest. But today, it still is really the Ernestina. Doesn't matter what's that additional name that is there. And the other important thing is, is the home port is New Bedford. The home port is New Bedford, will continue to be New Bedford, is in the legislation that we passed a couple of years back with a new partnership with Maritime. And the state pier. This is where she's docked right now. That space is reserved for the Ernestina, as long as she's in port. At no cost, by the way, at no cost, no fees for that. And that's also embedded in the legislation today, in the statute, the state statute that governs the Ernestina. That was an insistence that we did. Originally, when the bill was filed, it did not have that language. I know it took a few months, and I think Mr. Brito and others were concerned that we were not fast enough in passing the legislation. And that was a sticking point for some folks. DCR didn't want that language in the statute. And I insisted that it should be there. So it took twice as long. They finally came around because they knew that we were not going to budge on that. So that took us almost a year to actually pass the legislation because of that particular small reference detailed in the statute. Anyway, I think I want to stop here. Just trying to tell you a little bit of my story with the Ernestina. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Rep. Cabral, for those words. Thank you for everyone that made this event possible and for making it possible so Ernestina is here with us and will continue to be. To our committee, everyone that worked on this event, Bruce, Miles, and everyone else from our committee that's here, thank you, because obviously without your work, along with the Morrissey team, it wouldn't be possible for us to be here today. All right, so I want to acknowledge a dear friend that's in the stand with us today, pioneer in education, Dr. Macedo, standing over here to my right. It has been on the Ernestina. He said he went to school in Cape Verde from one island to the other so he can attend school. So we're gonna get back to the music, some food, take the tour to Ernestina, enjoy the day, the evening, and then we'll get back at it tomorrow, 11 o'clock, with the parade. Let's go, nobody, Viva Cabo Verde.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.